Welcome everybody to the Sunset Flip Wrestling Podcast. Your home for all wrestling, everything wrestling. Fellas. Life is good. Let me tell you something. Life ain't never been better if you're a
How
fan of
how good is
WWE.
life? How is life treating you?
Oh, listen, you tell me. Yo, Henry, how's life treating you, man?
I was hoping you would start singing "Living My Best Life." I would have died laughing if you would have started singing that shit.
Oh, But so, look at my eyes. Tell me what you see.
The cult of personality.
Good.
Yo, listen. When I tell you, Henry, I'll give you the breakdown. I'll pull up the solo styles of watching the pay per view, right? And we're saying, I keep telling Soto, he's gonna make it. He's gonna be there. So I was like, no, he's not. He's not. And then every match keeps closer and closer. And all of a sudden, I don't want to do it. I don't want to believe it. And all of a sudden, you hear the watermark on the bottom saying after Orange showed up, and we all went crazy. All of a sudden, and me and Soto are jumping
All
like
right,
children.
yo. So all right, so that is all facts. The fact that throughout the night, you kind of get teases, right, of CM Punk, right, and then we've gotten teases throughout the past couple of weeks. So I just put up a tweet like, not today, Satan. Like I'm not gonna fall for that. And I think WWE did a beautiful job of just like zooming out as if like the show is gonna close.
And he threw the watermark up saying, yo, here's the trademark, yada
Right.
yada.
And then everybody, once that trademark comes out and whatnot, you automatically think, yeah, that's it. Like the
Well, I
show.
had a
But
feeling
wait,
something would happen
there's
because when
more.
they did it, it sort of like did like a sort of like a caution X thing, and then all of a sudden his music popped. I was like, what?
It was fantastic. Like it
But
capped off.
we'll get to Mr. Punk. We'll get to him soon.
Mr. Phil Brooks.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
We kick things off with the ladies War Games match in which we saw Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, and Shotzi defeat Damage Control.
Fantastic match.
Yeah,
They were all in agreement for that.
I think you
That
could.
trash can spot was absolutely freaking insane, especially just not knowing where you're going to jump from, how short your jump is, how far your jump was absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that's her like signature, like I guess like move now.
Like
Every
she
time
about to
there's a War
jump and say,
Games.
"Hold on a second, let me put the trash can on real quick and just jump." The thud that was made was absolutely hilarious. Here's boom, and
Yeah,
everybody fucking drops.
and there were cool movements in this match. One in particular, you have kind of like Charlotte, the tension between Charlotte and Becky Lynch, which has been picking up for the past like week or so, and then they kind of like finally made amends. These girls were best friends, and had a fallout, and then now are reunited, as we saw in the post conference. So really happy to see that they patch things up. Interestingly enough, they were asked at the press conference, like, if a tag team championship opportunity for them presented itself, would they go for it? And to be honest with you, I kind of wouldn't be opposed to it. I would let other ladies kind of like do their own thing in regards to the a singles run, and if they wanted to elevate the tag team titles, they probably could do that if they wanted to.
Probably, I wouldn't doubt that. I think Shotzi's probably the woman of the night because she definitely showcased everything in that entire match. She was definitely like MVP if you had to pick one. I think Triple H said it
The
right.
Becky Charlotte feud, just piggybacking off that too. I think that's going to be maybe like sort of like a one-off match, even though there has been outlets that said before in the past that previously Becky and Charlotte have other plans they want to do. They don't want to have to fight each other at WrestleMania. So, I mean, we'll see.
Could
Right.
be. But
And then even in the match, we just saw you mentioned Shotzi being your MVP. My MVP happened to be Bailey. Um, Not only she started for her team, but she made numerous saves throughout the match. Um, Even though she did take the pinfall, which could have some consequences,
think so?
I'll
I
just
think it
leave it at
already
that.
is. I think I already saw some stuff leaked on Twitter that said that she hasn't been able to get in touch with anybody from Damage Control after the match. So there you go.
I mean, listen, they last episode of Friday Night SmackDown, they kind of teased that she would be the one getting kicked out, and I definitely see that happening. Um,
Yep,
so
We know Dakota Kai is gonna be the real leader.
I mean, Dakota Kai, I mean, despite being injured, has been holding it down. I mean, yeah, Io Sky is the champion, but
Yeah,
kind of like the glue and the one who's moving pieces around as
right.
of late has been Dakota Kai.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but yeah, no, I think this match, uh, in my opinion, was the match of the night. Surprisingly,
Okay.
it,
I would not disagree with you there either.
right. Obviously, when you think of the match of the night, everybody kind of like thinks, oh yeah, it's going to be the men's war games. No, but the ladies absolutely killed it. Each and every one of them, they did their part. I'm excited to see what storylines, take place going forward. It's like, all right, so who's going to be EO's next challenger, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happens with the relationship between Bailey and Damage Control, right? Where does Bianca go from here? Where does Shotzi, right? Flair and Lynch, like, are they going to team up, or what's going to happen in that aspect? So, listen, I'm really interested to seeing what happens next, and actually, I'm excited because they gave a lot of love and time to the women's division, and I think
There's been a lot of investing. A
right,
lot of investing.
right. I mean, listen, the past couple of weeks, a lot of people have been critical of the women's division and its bookings, right, and rightfully so, right. It's been kind of like inconsistent. They've been having matches, but it's sometimes like short match. So yeah, the ladies killed it.
No complaints at all. At least to me,
Yeah, for me either.
I think it was a five. I don't want to say a five. It was like 4.5 out of 5. I think both war games were 4.5 out of 5. But I think the women's. I don't think anybody really expected the women's to be that good. Like I thought it would be a good match. This was way better than expected. They definitely like showed their shit.
Yeah. Moving on, we have the yeah. Oh, you were gonna say something, Henry?
They held it down. That's all. I agree.
Oh, okay. Next we have on the card
Better
the
agree.
Intercontinental Championship match, in which we saw Gunther defeat The Miz and obviously retain.
I ain't gonna
This is going to be
lie.
a fun match. Since technically the Miz has been more at the face in the feud, even though the Miz is a heel. So it was basically a heel versus heel match, which was funny to see both try to pull out the heel tactics during the match.
Yeah, especially
And it
with
was
The
more
Miz
technical
with
too.
the low blow
Yeah, and it was
towards the end.
pretty technical match. So I wasn't expecting anything big there, but I'm glad that they kept the essence of it. So it's been a great run from Gunther so far. I'll tell you that much.
They made a lot of good points. Even in the scrum, they're talking about it. Like you can name your top 5 like Intercontinental champions, the top 5 greatest, and you could. I don't know if you could put Gunther in the top 5 conversation yet, but Gunther probably has the best individual run with the belt by far over anybody. It's a. Yeah, Soto's dad made a great point. He was like, "Oh, in his thick English accent, the Miz should win, but Gunther's too good to lose." I'm like, "You damn fucking right, Gunther's too good
No,
to lose."
let's correct it a little bit. That means he's good, but Gunther, he's the champion. He's too good.
It's
What about
yeah.
the all time the all time leading intercontinental reign was before Gunther was obviously B's favorite wrestler, the Honky Tonk Man.
Fucking bozo.
No,
Who?
but I love what they've done with Gunther. Right, the IC title was a title that was easily forgotten, right? It's like somebody, when Nakamura was champion, no fault of his own. It's just the way it was booked. That was a rough time for the IC title because it's like, all right, Nakamura's champion, but they never showcase him, barely made appearances, and
This is overall terrible
It,
booking.
it just got lost, right? Then you
I think
have
that was
Gunther.
more Vince's booking when he
Right,
was
right,
there anyway.
right. So now
He
that
had his
Gunther's
set guys that
champion,
he pushed. So things are better now.
yeah.
And it's
Now
gonna be better for a lot of the Spanish and Asian wrestlers in the future too, because Triple H said that's his focus to try to show people that it's not a place. It's a place that despite whatever ethnicity you are, race, gender, that anybody can succeed in WWE. And I think that's the positive message to send, honestly, instead of having
yeah.
the same Joe Schmo. Oh yeah, let's get the 13th title run or
But
whatever.
you got to give credit to Triple H because him and his booking has
Oh,
allowed the IC title to get
correct.
an enormous amount of credibility, right?
Agreed.
And for a short time, it was the IC title was the title to have on Monday Night Raw because they had no World Heavyweight Championship. So all
Facts.
eyes was on Gunther and that IC championship, and he took the ball and definitely ran away with it.
Ran more
And
like a full blown sprint. The run he had. I don't know. Y'all call him Gunther. I still want to call him Walter, but now I'm forgetting his name was once Walter. But he's been immaculate. Like you can't. Outside of Roman Reigns, he's been the best champ in the past like 4 or
everything
5 years.
he's one of those few wrestlers right now that has the total package, right? He has the in-ring skills, he has the entrance and the mic work, right? He
Yeah,
looks, and I told you when we were watching this yesterday, he looks like a legit boss, like a final boss.
yeah.
And yeah, uh the way they've presented him throughout the last couple of months has been incredible. So and as for the Miz, who is one of the greatest IC title holders of all time, I think this was a good match for him. We haven't seen a lot from the Miz recently, right? And he was a heel. Now it kind of seemed like he turned face with this feud against Gunther, while still executing heel tactics like the low blow and the Miz pulling the turnbuckle pad off. So it was interesting to kind of like mix both of them. But I'm kind of like invested to see what happens with the Miz now with this like new character direction.
Mhm.
And yeah, much respect to the Miz because listen, he's one of the OGs, been doing it for
He
years.
has been
So
given no love to the fans, and those fans. I'm not gonna call them stupid. I'm gonna call them dense, because you just don't understand. Like it's never. It's never what have you done for me. Or no, it's not what are you doing for me. It's what have you done for me lately. That's how it should be. Like give
right,
credit. And it's not just the past 3 months. Look in the past 3 years. Look in the past 5 years. The past 10 years. Like Miz made event at WrestleMania. No matter how you want to break it down, what kind of match it was, flop or not, you know, he's done a lot. And I'm glad Gunther gave his praise to The Miz and went back to his heelish ways and said, oh, The Miz deserves to be here in this company, just now in the ring with me. Okay, I'm saying that's a great answer. It's the only answer you can give. And then prior to Triple H goes, The Miz, is one of the best. The Miz, whatever you ask Miz to do, he is the best at doing whatever you ask to be done. You want to be a face? He might be the best face on the roster. You want to be a heel? He's easily one of the best heels on the roster. You want to have a reign with a belt? He makes the belt relevant. You want to push? You want to
You could also
be a
talk
jobber? He's a great jobber. Like,
R-Truth in that too. Another one who does things like that too. I'm not saying they're the same, but I'm talking about willing to do what is asked of them in any situation. So,
yes,
yeah.
and
What,
I know Miz has come out and said R-Truth is one of the people he actually enjoyed working with, and took that model of working habit from too. Just a guy that basically goes above and beyond and can excel in any role. So I agree with you there too.
right, and when I look at the Miz, the word consistency should like all I think about is
100%.
how consistent the Miz has been throughout all the years in any situation.
It's a damn
So
shame that the Miz
Oh,
is
agreed.
getting the love now that Ziggler should have got years ago. And I said you saw that during the scrum. Like
yeah,
shame on those who forgot how great Ziggler was. Ziggler was one of the best wrestlers on the roster. Did everything for the company, everything right. And what they get? Oh, he's just a bum doing comedy now, bro. Like, nah, y'all got some disrespect. Give people flowers when they're here. Because watch what happens when Cena and Orton are gone and everybody's gone. Man, I really miss Cena. No, you don't. Shut up. Now when he's gone, now you want to be, damn, this shit sucks. Fucking travesty, man. I'm sick of this shit.
Oh man,
Part of it is also booking too. You got to think about it like that too, from the other side of it too. As a company, and just this was just wrestling industry as a whole. Some companies excel at booking stars and maintaining stars, and some suck at it. We know some suck at keeping talent happy. Some suck at this. There's always those bad apples are the ones that don't know what the fuck they're doing in their job. Unfortunately, in the wrestling business, we know this.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, with booking directions, just with different wrestlers. If you talk about like guys like Ricochet, um, freaking Andrade, they booked him wrong.
I'll talk about
Ricochet,
him
they
a
booked
little
him
bit
wrong for
too.
us. I'm saying there's just a long list. Give you an example of one who's excelling in another company. Sting, his run in WWE was lackluster. So again, basically, it comes to being able to create stars, and have they really been able to do that? That's just basically piggybacking off what you said. That's how I see it too.
yeah. Now the question becomes, with another victory for Gunther, who dethrones the ring general?
There's a couple guys you can talk
Because
about.
I knew right off bat, I knew it wasn't going to be the Miz. I mean, nothing
It's gonna
against the
be
Miz.
it's gonna be Brock Lesnar. I just had this weird.
I mean, listen, Brock versus Gunther. I mean that would be that would be pretty
Isn't
fire.
that
Brock
isn't
has
that one
never
of
had
the,
an
yeah,
IC belt.
that's one of the titles that he's
No,
missing. I think
no.
he's missing that
So
title.
I'm all for it. Give Brock a 15, 20-minute match with Gunther. Ooh.
Yeah,
That's going
I
to
think that's
be
one of the chips he's missing.
that's going to be a heavyweight.
I think two people need that championship. I think him and I think Sheamus need it in order to complete. I think the Grand Slam. I
Grand
believe.
Slam, right?
Yeah, Sheamus needs that,
No,
and then
I think Brock still needs
U.S.
a US. Yeah, so I mean, but if Brock wants to go for IC title, I mean, I think that match would
Yeah,
be historic. But
Be a banger.
yeah,
hell yeah.
we move on to Santo Escobar defeating Dragon Lee. Guys, to be honest with you, as much of listen, I was really excited about this matchup, right?
I think it was too
Remember
short.
the original match was Carlito versus Santos Escobar, but Escobar took out Carlito on SmackDown, and this match was put together, which I thought, all right, this is great because you're able to showcase two up and coming, luchadores or Latino superstars, right? Two guys that could be the future, of WWE going forward, right? And I was kind of like disappointed because I think we were robbed of a masterpiece, right? I think given more minutes, I just think that the match was cut short. Given more minutes, I think these guys would have knocked it out of the ballpark.
I mean, they already donned Dragon Lee as the next Rey Mysterio. And Rey
Right, and
Mysterio quoted himself as well. This guy's the next big thing when it comes to, match
right,
wrestling.
right, and when it comes to Santos Escobar, um,
He's
while his
got he's got a
call
very high ceiling.
right, while his
First of all,
call up
he's
was
better as a heel.
cool,
Just to
yeah,
say that.
while his call up was cool, I just wished for him to go back to his heelish ways when he was in Legado, right? So now that we're kind of finally seeing that,
We might get Legado 2.0 soon, so look
right,
out for that too.
yeah. So
And that's going to be with two more underutilized and underappreciated wrestlers that'll be given a chance to sign too. So that should be good too.
yeah, so
I mean, yeah, the match was short. We know that, and I don't know. I felt like this match had Eddie versus Ray feels with just the way it's been built up and different things like that with the feud. But like, I feel like they let it down. I was hoping for it to be like a really good match, and it wound up being very short. But maybe part of me is also thinking maybe this is the long term booking. Maybe they wanted it to be short to have the fans invested in it and then go longer next time and make it an instant classic. So you
I
never know.
mean, I don't know
But that means
because
the
it's
next
like,
match has to be a good, wholesome match.
but that's the thing. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like the match was this one, right? And it could have been longer, like because you already have so many potential options for Santos Escobar to face, right? You have a feud with Carlito, right? Um, Eventually, when Ray comes back from knee surgery, you're gonna have to feud with Ray again.
That's probably gonna be a
Um,
Mania match, not to mention.
right.
Could be. It could be. It could be Rey Mysterio's retirement match because I know he's been mentioning he's been wanting to wind it down. So it could be a Santos versus Rey Mysterio. It could be sort of like a career
Because
versus
he's got meniscus
career
surgery, so that's gonna
career
be
mask versus hair or something like that. Where Santos
six
could lose
six
his
to eight
hair.
weeks.
Yeah, because again, now we don't know what's going to happen with Joaquin Wild and Cruz del Toro. I mean, we know that Santos
Supposedly,
Escobar wants nothing to do with them. Um, so it's like
are they
there's a
going to be
lot.
in part of LWO? Are they going to be rebooted to something different? Nobody knows.
Yeah. So that's why, like in my opinion, this was kind of like a missed opportunity here.
Yeah,
Um, it kind of you given a couple more minutes to just kind of like show the world a preview of what we're in store for for years to come. So moving on, we have the women's world championship. Rhea Ripley defeating and retaining against Zoe Stark.
You knew Rip was gonna
really
win
good
this,
wrestler.
so this is more of a what can Zoe Stark do for the division, and now you
Yeah.
know okay, you could put Zoe Stark in any situation, she could do real well.
Yeah, exactly. She's a powerhouse, but she's also technical and is a really good wrestler. I mean, we know her. We all know her promo skills use work. We all know that. We all see it. I'm tired of people pointing it out. We know it already. However, sometimes promo skills may not be your strong suit, but you could still cut a decent promo. And if worse comes to worse, you get somebody a mouthpiece in the future during a run, whether it's face or heel, which I know we don't technically use those terms in wrestling anymore, but technically what they really are. But my thing was, yeah, the match served its purpose. We obviously knew Rhea wasn't going to lose. If she's going to lose the championship, it's going to be either to Becky or Jade.
You'll talk about Jay in a bit too. That's another good conversation that was brought up in the Fallout
Yeah,
and where she stands.
with in regards to this match, I felt like this was just a big test for Zoe Stark. Um, Rhea Ripley, we know what Rhea Ripley can do and what she's capable of doing. She looks like a star. She's presented like a star. I mean, listen, she's the world's you know champion, right?
Right.
And in regards to Zoe Stark, it's like, all right, how can she handle an opportunity like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and especially like this isn't just a regular episode of Monday Night Raw. No, you're in a championship match at Survivor Series, right? One of the major pay per views. And I think she held her own. I think she did solid work. Again, like I don't know what's gonna go, what's gonna happen going forward for Zoe Stark, but this was just an opportunity for Zoe to kind of like showcase herself and show what she's capable of doing.
Yeah, I agree. I have no objections to that.
We move on to the main event, the men's War Games, in which we saw Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, Jey Uso, and Sami Zayn defeat Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, Dominic Mysterio, and JD McDonough.
Shout out to the Viper. That's probably. I mean, the matchup was fun. You could see the clear cut tension between McIntyre and the rest of the wrestlers. It's not really more so about
Kind of like the stare down that they had before the match started, right?
yes, something like this will be a recurring theme going
Okay.
forward.
Yeah.
So you'll see the Judgment Day and Drew McIntyre beef at some point going forward. That could be possible. Pick and choose. You'll probably Priest versus McIntyre, right? That's an opportunity you can see later on down the line. McIntyre and Orton had the issues in the past. Him and Cody are not that cool. He wants to beat the fuck out of Jay. So there's another situation there where if they don't pull the trigger on Jay versus Jimmy, you have a Jay versus Drew match, which would
That's
be
one
a
of the
great match
first
altogether.
matches set for WrestleMania, believe it or not, Jay versus Jimmy. So that one's pretty much set in stone. We don't got to worry about that one.
We'll see. Things change. You just don't know how it's gonna pan out when you get to the Rumble and you get to the Chamber, and it's like, whoa, what are we gonna do here?
Well, I mean, no, that's the thing. I think when it comes to Cody Rhodes and finishing his story, right, which his story would most likely end with him challenging Roman Reigns, right? You can kind of picture a scenario where the Bloodline kind of does a beatdown, right, on Cody Rhodes, and Jey Uso makes the save, and that's how you set up Jey versus Jimmy. Um, but yeah, like we saw a lot of I think we got a lot of answers and probably clarity of like where things are going to go. Like I honestly expected Randy Orton to like
Go after Jay.
R- yeah, go, like RKO Jay. I didn't expect that at all to like turn on Cody
He
cuz
was he was about to RKO him at one point during the match, but
He
then I
told me
think
and
when
say,
he
"Yo, just so
but
you
then when he
know, I'm back, but we ain't gonna forget what you
yeah,
did
he
to me." And
basically
he
said,
was
"Oh,
like, "Yeah."
I remember you took me out," and then you clearly hear Jey Uso say, "I'm sorry, Us," and then super kicks Priest, who is about to attack Randy
I
Orton.
think that's why he
So
spared him, but I think it's a good idea to keep Orton as a face. I know people are like, "Oh yeah, turn him heel by Royal Rumble." I'm going to disagree with that for many reasons. Just for the fact that Orton, before he got injured, was on one of the hottest face runs he's ever had with Riddle. Not only that, and he also said it was one of the more enjoyable face runs he's had in recent memory as a face
Well, there's no
too.
more Riddle
So
now, so that's the problem. Like I'm with
and
you on that,
and speaking
but
of
that was a
Riddle, you
lot
saw
of
how
Riddle.
salty he was, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
yeah, nah.
there's a lot of Riddle like
But or remember,
influence on that.
Orton's also another one that's been successful in the tag team scene too, with whoever he's been with. Because think about it, we had a rated RKO back in the day. We have him and Riddle were successful as a tag team too. So I mean, I'm sure he's had other people he's tag team where we have Legacy and stuff like that. But I mean, Evolution. Oh God, there's so many. But I'm saying that I don't think it's a good idea for him to go heel for a while. If you're going to do something heel, either do it during WrestleMania season or do it after WrestleMania season when everything resets.
I feel like I get you, I get you, but I'm gonna like disagree with you here.
I think we're getting Randy versus Drew at some point again.
To be honest with you, I think we're getting Randy versus Cody. I feel like there's
I
been a
would
lot
we
of
would get that,
focus.
but that'll probably be after WrestleMania. I don't think because remember there's the whole story of Cody finishing his story, correct? So
Right.
there's
I
going to be
mean,
months of that
you could
him.
you can do that too. You could wait
That all
till
depends on what they do to set up Rock Reigns.
Well, we don't know what's happening
If
with
they
that
set
either.
it up for whatever time frame for Rock Reigns and they don't pull the trigger, then you got to go with Cody. If they go Rock Reigns, then
Not
give
necessarily
Cody.
because Reigns can wrestle both nights. He opens up night one and closes night two. Face
You
the
could
Rock
do
one
that, but
night,
you got to see,
faces Seth
but you
Rollins,
got
this
to
guy
see
the
who
other.
pans out first. Because you could the Cody Reigns is booked. That's a guaranteed match, but the money is Rock
So think about
Reigns.
Reigns. Yeah, of course we know that, but I'm thinking about it like this: if he's wrestling a match against the Rock, we know Reigns is going to carry a majority of that match because Rock is going to be. I know he's probably working on it right now, but he could be super rusty. But he's older and he's at a point that he does it like part time. He's more like in the Goldberg territory. He wrestles once every couple years, a couple matches, this and that. So it's not that easy. So I could see a match like that where you know Reigns has to carry most of the match, and then the next match that he fights Cody is where honestly Cody looks dominant and sort of ends Reigns' dominant reign. I could see that happening where Cody's the one that's dominant the next night. So my thinking is they could both do it because technically Reigns would be tired night two. So
well, again, we're all talking speculations, right?
correct.
Because we didn't know that a certain somebody was coming back, right? Right
Y'all thought
after.
he was
And just
done.
before we move on to that, I just want to touch on that RKO spot was absolutely crazy but hilarious at the same time when JD just like freaking dolphin dived off the top of the cage.
Add that to the add that to the list of iconic RKO's, right?
Yeah,
And I love what they did. Like as soon as like Randy Orton came out it all became about Randy Orton,
And that's a respect thing, especially in
right,
Chicago, where he's not that welcome in there.
deservedly so, because the turnbuckle DDT, everybody doing it, and
Yes,
then
that was dope. I like that
um,
too.
I don't think like Orton was on fire. Like he was just on fire, like a man possessed. Like he
Right.
just took out everyone. And for what is he? 43, 44 years old.
43.
Yep.
Tremendous shape. Like
He looks
Orton.
ox. He
And
put on a good 10, 15 pounds and just filled out.
honestly,
He's a mammoth of a man
you
now.
look at Orton right now, and bearing any like serious injuries, just the shape that he's in right now, he could go another 5, 7 years. I know, like, there's a video
He
of
put his
him
hands up.
going like
Yeah.
10 to the crowd, and obviously a lot of people like, are assuming he can go 10 years. I don't know if that, because injuries do catch up to you, but he's in
Double
top
fusion
tier
surgery.
shape.
Remember that. He had
Yeah.
double, so he has to put muscle on the area that got affected just to avoid any further injury. And I'm sure he's not going to be doing a lot of the stuff that he does until he's more comfortable and is able to tolerate a little bit of the pain. Because as you saw through the match, he had a little bit of pain on him. And
Yeah.
obviously, he hasn't wrestled in over 550 days. Number one, and number two, it's just he didn't do a lot of crazy spots in the match. They protected him, so
He
there's
did
that.
just enough.
He's going to be
And
protected for a while.
one of the best swerves in the match was, after the 10-second countdown, and everybody kind of like expected Randy Orton. You hear we see Rhea Ripley kind of run to the ring with the Money in the Bank contract, and a lot of people were like, whoa, like, cashing in during the match. Like, I thought if there was going to be a cash in, it would be after the match, but during the match, that was
That was
that
savage.
was a good tease. That was a good tease. And then obviously Randy Orton came out, which the crowd was on fire.
He's
The
gonna he's
pop.
gonna fail the he's gonna fail the cashing. It's already been
Yeah,
teased so
I
much.
think I think so. I mean, I said this again, like time and time. I really don't see a scenario where Priest becomes champion.
Not right now.
Like from here to Mania season, right?
No,
I
not
I,
right.
I
He's not
don't.
ready yet.
I just no. It's not that he's not ready. I think he is ready, but I just don't see a scenario where becomes champion, because it's like
There's so many
you
more
have
stories out
you
there.
have Seth, right? You have Damian not Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna battle it out for the World Heavyweight Championship, and then the return of a certain someone. He's also probably going to be in the mix, right? Unless he does another feud with somebody else, right? But I just don't see a scenario where he like cashes in successfully.
They pulled the
I'll
trigger,
make
should
it
have been
work.
months ago, and now you got to drag it and drag it until like, damn, like I run out of options.
Nah,
Right.
it's gonna be good.
Or a scenario that I don't see Priest walking or leaving WrestleMania with the briefcase, right? And I can see Priest probably cashing in within the next month, and probably either entering Royal Rumble with the title or leaving Royal Rumble with the title. I can see that, and then probably lose it like the next pay-per-view or so. But I mean, that would just hurt him again. Like the way they've handled the Money in the Bank briefcase for Priest,
It's
um,
tough.
it's tough, because they kind of put him in a tough position here.
So
I think
it'd be like
I
that.
think he is gonna get a failed cash in, and I think it's gonna be sort of he's gonna be injured because if I remember right, they said he's been wrestling through several injuries. So once he loses that case, I think he's gonna take some time off.
I wonder if
Probably
McIntyre is going to be part of that failed cash in.
He
That we're
might do it
all.
just because, just the way he felt he was
I think
handled, how you feel he was handled during the match. He's about to go right in as the fourth person in the match, and Priest slaps him and go, yo, follow the plan. Oh, so the plan changes now, huh? He was like, just listen, just do what I say, and pushed him back and took off. I was like, yeah, listen, and then McIntyre walks off the match pretty quickly, like he's pissed, so he's gonna be on a warpath going forward.
maybe
Well,
it's part
fuck
of
all
the
that,
challenge.
fuck all that, fuck all that. CM
Everybody
Punk is
thinks
back, baby.
everybody thinks McIntyre is mad about different things, but maybe it's a character progression. You're probably right.
Yeah, it is what it is. But CM Punk is back. Let's get back to it. Let's get to what this pay-per-view was all about at the end. Well, it ended, but It's all
Well,
about Punk, baby. They
the
said he
big
was done. They said he was out, and guess what? He
the
left
biggest
Wembley
return of the
after
night
wrestling
was not
Samoa
CM Punk, by
Joe.
the way, though.
What happened?
The biggest return of the night wasn't CM Punk.
Yeah, it
No,
was
it
our
was our
truth.
truth.
It
We
was
all know
our
that.
truth.
It was our truth. We know that.
But he leaves Wembley wrestling his
Shout out to
boy
our truth too. By the way, good to see him back too.
Yeah.
Him with Tozawa's comedy gold. That's all I'm
with the
gonna throw out there.
chips, and then he's
Yes.
going crazy while Uso goes yeeting with the crowd.
Yep.
It's classic. But yes,
But
he
CM
leaves
Punk,
Wembley Stadium, and he leaves wrestling his boy in August, and now he's back in WWE. Everybody's going crazy. The whole world. I don't realize the last. I think they broke it down. The pay per view cracked 26 million viewers. The thing spiked, I think, 9 million viewerships at the end when Orton returned to when the fallout began. That was 9 million views in anticipation for Orton and Punk. So the fact that W capitalized at the end when they got the viewership at a high note and took to a low, bringing Punk in was
Triple H had the
immaculate.
chef hat on. That's all I'm gonna say.
It was immaculate. And then we go into the fallout where he broke down off rip, and clearly, we talk about the elephant in the room, R-Truth coming back, and then he praises Orton for how he was a dickhead as a kid, coming into things, and they babied him, and him personally babied him into the game, which was the wrong thing to do. And then from 2003, 2004 to 20 years later, how impressive Orton is and how great of how valuable he is to the company. And then they asked him, what about Punk? And he said he came out and took his 1 point ahead, and which I was very impressed about, by the way. He actually took all the bullets that was ready for him, took every shot, and doubled down and bounced back with a great response to every question. He had issues back then about health, concussion protocol, and safety measures with medical staff was terrible. One reason why Punk left. And then he doubles down and says, people grow. If you're not the same person you were 10 years ago, then you wouldn't be, then you've done nothing at all. So the fact that he's grown up, he essentially apologized for his mistakes, right? You don't speak for him. So he buried Vince, right? And saying it was a lot of Vince's issues regardless for that. He's just following the rules because he's below him as an exec.
I'm
But
just gonna say,
times have changed.
Vince don't have a say no more. He doesn't have a say anymore now because
Yeah,
he
we
gets
still got some
overruled
pride
by.
and according to Triple H, not even TKO knew.
No.
It was it was all Nick Khan's idea, with obviously with Triple H and him working side by side, right?
Within the past week or
So I
two.
would say it's a good thing for WWE because you get a lot of talent that wasn't being utilized right is being utilized better. Number one. Number two, now we get a lot more signings that we didn't expect. There's no blockade or that bullshit tagline, never say never with Vince, and it's really never unless it's to a point that let's work it out.
Hell froze over a couple times.
So let's put it like this: the two main guys that said they would never come back to WWE ever were Bruno Sammartino, and look what happened with that. Ultimate Warrior, because they had bad blood. Sting had bad blood with WWE because of a lot of religious views and different things they did, and now CM Punk. So I mean, it is really
And Bret Hart.
never. Yeah, Bret Hart too. There's been so many wrestlers over the years, but it's a good thing. Like I said, CM Punk is back. We know the talks accelerated fast. I think they say he signed the day of Survivor Series, and they told the talent right before the match happened, he's going to be out.
Whatnot. Yeah, there's so many different reports because there's he signed a multi-year deal, and then there's also
the rumor is 3-year deal.
Yeah, then there's also reports that he's still a free agent.
No,
but, I mean,
free agent part would be. I think they clarified that free agent part would be he's not part of Raw. He's not part of SmackDown. Okay. He's not part of NXT, which means that they're going to probably use the hell out of him on every channel, which is honestly, I think, what CM Punk was looking for in the company. I get that, Tony Khan created a whole fucking show after him in AEW.
But the show was for CM Punk.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But, I think CM Punk also wanted to help a lot of wrestlers because I when I remember what something that B said a while ago, that he, talked to a lot of young wrestlers, gave advice. He talked to Cody, he talked to Jade, talked to a lot of people at AEW. He did help a lot of people. So maybe he goes along that route and tries to help WWE, and WWE focuses on him more. Because
I mean,
at the end of the day, we know that's what he wants, the attention.
he's still 45 years old, right?
Got a
Um,
whole lot
he
of
still
gas left
has
in the
gas
tank.
in the tank, right?
Yep.
And again, kind of like piggyback on what B said, for Triple H to say, and I quote, this is exactly what he said on the press conference. Like a lot of time has gone by, almost 10 years, right? And
Yep.
if you're are the same person you were 10 years ago, 10 years later you've messed up. Like it just shows like the growth between Triple H and CM Punk. So to have CM Punk in WWE, it kind of seems surreal because throughout the
Hmm.
years we've seen Punk consistently take shots at WWE, and only
Right.
Punk's knows his reasons why, right? A lot of people can speculate, being fired on his wedding day and so on, right? But again, it just shows that throughout these 10 years, how much both parties have grown. Now,
Yeah.
back then, when it was Triple H and CM Punk, Triple H wasn't that higher up in
He's
rankings,
got to
right?
follow protocol. He's got to follow what's being told to do at the end of the day. No matter where you are, you're still an employee. Now he's an
Right.
executive. It's a way different landscape he
Well,
is now.
not only that, I think he also, like you said, that quote was powerful that Triple H said at the press conference. But the other thing is too, is like I thought about it, this like that. Yes, did CM Punk act childish in WWE and AEW before? Absolutely. But that quote that he said is true. Because if CM Punk was able to bury the hatchet with Triple H and, bury the hatchet with Seth Rollins and a lot of other wrestlers, I'm sure he buried it with. Because that's, from what I've seen interviews that leaked, it looked like CM Punk actually made big, big changes to try to get back in WWE and, fix those bridges, mend them. Because I heard Seth Rollins had an interview. He said, yeah, they reached out, they were able to mend bridges and all this stuff like that. So, I mean, there's a
Yeah,
lot. There's a lot.
listen, but having CM Punk around, it also can create a little bit of heat because it's like, damn, here comes another major name, major guy taking my spot, right? So it's like,
Fight of the fittest.
right,
It is,
and
but
with a name like CM Punk who can draw, like, listen, right now it's crazy because if W and WWE will play their cards right, they have Roman Reigns who before CM Punk was their biggest draw. They have him on
right,
SmackDown.
And all that shit went out the
Now
door as soon as the music hit.
now
That's
they
the
have
craziest part.
now they have CM Punk, which they can put him on Raw, and now you have a balance of ratings between both shows because before Punk, SmackDown draws more viewers and ratings than Monday Night Raw. You put CM Punk on Raw, and it's like you kind of like balance the
You even a lot
scale
of
a
stuff
little.
Raw.
out. Now it's up to
I
creative to
think
get it done.
USA is going to definitely keep Monday Night Raw now. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, no, this and it's all right.
It
A
makes
lot
no
of
absolutely
people
zero sense to get if they were able to pull off CM Punk. You think USA is going to say, "Oh yeah, we don't want you anymore"? Hell no.
listen as and maybe I could be maybe I'm a hypocrite, right?
Mm.
Both y'all
Bec-
are. Shame on
because
y'all.
because I've been critical of CM Punk, right?
Super
Yeah,
critical.
me
Um,
too.
Shame
but
on both y'all.
the fact that as wrestling fans, right?
Yeah,
You bring in CM Punk after so many years, which is a move that not a lot of wrestling fans would expect, right? To
It's
ever
polarizing.
happen. Yeah,
yeah,
like you one would probably think, all right, the next possibility of CM Punk showing up in the WWE would possibly remote chance be like a Hall of Fame induction ceremony. But no,
right.
you get him back as an in-ring competitor. Granted at 45 years old, but you look at his shape, right? And he looks like
He
he's
lost
been
some weight
working
and bulked up a little bit.
right. He's been working, working out,
Yeah.
and he looks in top shape. So
Not only that, also that
there's
also
clear
opens the door for
motivation on Punk's side too. So
yeah,
you take that, and then you take Triple H's motivation to continue growing WWE, right?
I'm gonna throw
Um,
another name. I'm gonna throw another name out there now.
this is a special moment, you know.
Yeah, and not only that, that opens up the door for another person to make the comeback. Who I think that's the next rumored name for Royal Rumble might make an appearance, which is his wife AJ.
Yeah, I
You never
mean, who knows? Who knows if AJ Lee is in the right mindset, you can have her as a surprise appearance at the women's Royal Rumble match.
correct. I think I could see that happening, and I could see like a Hall of Fame induction because maybe I know she said in interviews she doesn't really want to wrestle like that no more because of her injury was almost career threatening for her and different
Right.
things like that. And I know she still wrestles because obviously the show Heels that was canceled, she wrestled CM
And
Punk on
she's
it.
still no, and she's still young, 36.
Got
Yeah,
a lot of wrestling life
There's a
left.
lot of the gas in the tank for her too. I mean, it's
it's just if you want to do it, that's the question,
if her mind and heart are in the right place, you know,
right?
and obviously, you know, physically, if she's able to maintain, then listen, why not, right? And now
I
it
could see a
looks,
one-off appearance. I
yeah,
could see it.
yeah,
I could
no,
see a one-off
now
appearance and maybe a Hall of Fame.
it definitely looks possible. And to be honest with you, I don't even think it's a one appearance. I can see like
One
a
good
run.
run.
Yeah, could be.
I would say, all right, run, but she has the potential to do, you know, either part time or what CM Punk is doing right now. So like a 2-3
And that's
year
another thing I'm curious
deal.
too. I'm curious to see how Punk's run is going to be. If he's going to have a run like Edge where he appears for a little bit and disappears, or if he's full time. Because I don't know if CM Punk's going to want to do full time. And again, he's 45, but I'm
Now,
sure they gave more. There's a more reduced schedule now in WWE than there was before. So I mean, that's also another thing too.
yeah. Now, real quick, before we get into our last topic, we saw videos of all over the internet of Drew McIntyre kind of leaving angrily
Yeah,
before CM Punk came back, and even there were reports that he stormed out of the building right now, right after, and then also with in regards to Seth Rollins and the way he reacted when CM Punk came out, started throwing kind of like a fit or a tantrum,
So
giving Punk the middle
say what's up to
finger.
Pepsi Phil. Hey
Now,
buddy.
now the question is that a work or is that
a lot of
real?
people are a lot of people are saying it's part work, part real life. I think he still has issues with CM Punk, but I think he's willing to work with him. A lot of people are saying it's a work just for the fact that Seth Rollins came out in an interview and said that he squashed things with CM Punk a while ago, and that
It's
they're
CM.
willing to work
CM
together.
Punk. Seth Rollins
So
is not dumb because and a lot of people don't pay attention to the interviews and the independent stuff that they do outside of wrestling, right? Like, for example, no one really understood the whole confines of why Heyman hated Benoit back in the day for obvious reasons. But people realize, oh shit, he did an interview 4 or 5 years ago in Europe talking about this, that, and the third. Or when Cody Rhodes was at AEW, but he was talking about his time in the Rumble at the Garden with Undertaker, right? And different variety of things. We don't realize that. Or the whole what
yeah,
happened to Vince McMahon at the Royal Rumble with Batista and Cena, and Edge actually told the story. No one realized that those interviews came out 6, 7, 8 years ago, right? Way, way long ago. So if you're not paying attention to stuff like that, you're not gonna realize that Rollins, being one of the top guys, obviously gonna have a say on things. Cody had to say. You could tell Reigns had to say. Everybody who's up top, the top of the top of the company on the roster, had input on this.
they're not
Seth
going to
Rollins is going
not
to do
put
this because
give them
one,
input.
he has a lot of respect for Punk for what Punk did for him coming into wrestling
Exactly.
into the WWE, right, with
Good
the
point.
whole
I was going to
Shield
point that out.
stuff
You pointed out
and the
before me.
NXT stuff going prior. So obviously he knows if Punk wants to come back, then I welcome him back with open arms. Obviously we have issues, but things
Correct.
change. So that goes into detail.
But
As for
again,
Drew
they
McIntyre,
said they squashed the issue. So
I think it's more so frustration because of not how the match went. It was his input into the match, right? The only thing that let's be honest, the only thing that McIntyre really did was beat the fuck out of Jay, and even then,
he
it wasn't like
was
what
he
we
was sort
all
of
want.
lost in the
We
shuffle.
wanted to see Jay get his ass beat, but we didn't get enough time on that, right? And not to mention, so made a good point. We were watching it. The actual pay per view ended at 10:46, 10:47. Most of these pay per views go to 11. right? These
Yeah.
major pay-per-views, the big four, Rumble,
Yeah.
Survivor Series, Mania, SummerSlam, those are 4 hour shows at least, right?
Mania
You
goes to
didn't
midnight
get to the
usually.
4 hour mark. And so to the point, I was like, they kind of rushed a couple of matches leading up to this, and you gave as much
Right.
time as you wanted for both war games. I think the women's match was just enough. It could have went maybe a couple minutes longer.
Yeah, because you have to kind of wait till every superstar is in the ring in order for the match to
Yeah,
actually
and
start.
they were pretty quick, and they tried to give the buffer for the Randy Orton,
Yeah.
the question mark, right? Whereas they flipped that into Rhea Ripley, so you gave that segment, and then you gave the Orton entrance, his slow walk up, and then giving him his 2 minutes of fame to start out as a return.
Mm-hmm.
But you still did. McIntyre's the one that kind of missed out on a lot of stuff. They gave Dom this segment, which was great, right? Dom doing dickhead things and getting his ass beat at the end.
Which
Classic.
is
You know
great.
you needed that. You gave Cody and Seth their moments. You gave McDonough a great part. Balor and Rollins opened it up. Jey Uso took off early, right? And you gave Orton his run at the end to seal the deal for the win. But you didn't get enough McIntyre through. And McIntyre had a lot of beef with everybody in there because of the decisions he made, right? The Claymore to Jay, destroying the ring with everybody involved, with Rollins and Cody and stuff like that. So I think that's more frustrations, and I think that's going to lead up to them using that as a
Storyline?
yeah. I think I don't think I think it was more so frustrations because he could have walked out everybody else did.
Yeah, I mean,
The whole storming out was kind of it might have been a work, but him leaving the arena,
the cameraman kind of like gave him the signal for him to storm out, right?
yeah. So that was
And
the work. That was storyline
and it was
purposes.
also reported that before the match, before the men's War Games match, that all competitors knew that CM Punk was coming out. So
Right.
that Seth tantrum,
Was a
there was
setup.
no need for that because you knew he was coming out. And
Mhm.
as for and
It's a
in
work.
regards to Drew, it's like it could be a 50-50 because there has been again conflict with his contract situation, right?
Right.
And
So
plus
Right.
that's the suspect part. It's like, it could
and
have been
then
a
you're
work, but there's a lot of intel for that.
and then again you're bringing in Punk, which potentially could take my spot.
Exactly. Take all who are your top 5 on each side, right? You got Roman, Uso, Roman, Jimmy, Solo, right? And pick 2 Styles and one more in SmackDown.
I mean, LA
And
Knight, KO,
then you go to Raw and you got Seth, you got Cody, you now have Punk coming back, and you got the Judgment Day
right?
and Gunther. So it's like all your matches you have set up for Drew
What
to
does that
work,
lead me?
and now you're working. You don't. There's no talk of an extension, and there has been a talk of a new deal being made. Not like we'll give you another year, right? You have heard nothing out of Drew since he came back, right? So is he doing the Rey Mysterio? I'll work, pay me per event, and to keep me in the loop for what's going on, or you know, is Drew gonna come on and say fuck CM Punk, see me in the ring at the Rumble, or even prior, and is that going forward? You could do an Escobar Dragon Lee rematch and have them winner goes to the Rumble, right?
Yeah.
You could have a Drew Punk situation with that same idea, but you don't know where that came from. That's like, we'll give you a match just for storyline purposes, but is it a match because I'm gonna get a contract renewal, or am I getting an extension like a year, 2 years,
Right.
6 months? Am I gonna be here till Mania? Is he gonna walk out and go to AEW? Because now we're talking about everybody leaving, and Soto made a good point prior before we get to that final segment, the final piece. The first nail in the coffin was laid down when you had your attendance exposed weekly. It wasn't just per pay-per-view. Your weekly your attendance has been under by at least 20%. Every house show, every live show, right? You were gonna lose Cody. Jay was gonna walk, so it is you were gonna lose him regardless. You listen to your constituents, right? Everybody was shitting on Punk at AEW, doing messing with the double fist up, this and the third, and you let them make fun of Punk all year, right? And then he walks over because you, Tony Khan, got him out the door. and now he's at red hot at that WWE where he wants to be at, with a plethora of work to do in time for the biggest part of the year. So now you look at Drew and it's like, yo, hold on a second. So where the fuck do I stand in all this?
Where
And
do
now
I?
he's
Yeah,
sitting there
exactly.
bitter.
Where do I fit in? Which right now it's a dark cloud because
Yeah,
it's like
and it's gonna
you
get darker, and that's the tougher that's the
right
probably more frustrating thing. That
because
cloud is getting darker.
up until 2 3, let me correct myself, probably like a month. You thought that the program was going to be McIntyre eventually winning the world heavyweight champion as a heel against Seth Rollins, and over the
Then it
weeks
became the whole Judgment Day segment.
you got CM Punk teases, and it's like, no, he's not coming.
Oh,
Until
okay,
they
yeah, it was
started
Rollins
teasing
and Nakamura.
and teasing, and then now he's here. So it's like,
So you lost. You missed out on that. Now you want an IC belt. You got full on lines. Lots
Yeah.
going on with the IC belt now. Who's up? You got to now
Yeah.
earn that. It's
All right.
it's a reset over and over again.
yeah. And to close out, guys, I need you guys to pick the biggest winner and loser from Survivor Series.
The biggest loser is Damian Priest.
Okay.
Another big pay per view goes by. Another failed cash in attempt. Another failed attempt to cash in.
I actually like that, and didn't think about Damian Priest, but I actually like that answer.
It's one individual. And then the biggest winner is us. Like, it was a great pay per view, top to bottom. You know, even maybe the Esquire match was the weakest one. It was a good match. It was just short, right? The River match was great. The women's match was great. The men's match was great. You could pick one of those two as match of the night, right? The Miz showed out. Gunther showed out. But the fans got shit. I'm sorry. Let me change this. The city of Chicago were the biggest winners because they got R-Truth. They got the New Day showing up, making appearances with Slim Jim, right? You got all your appearances with Tozawa and Otis bullshitting around with R-Truth and whatnot. You got a returning Randy Orton in a climactic fashion. And then you got CM Punk, who is a god in the state of Illinois, to show up to return to a company he loved being in for a long period of time. The Chicago won.
Okay. Henry?
Yeah, for me, I'll keep it simple. I'm not going to go too hard. I think the biggest loser was, again, the Santos and Dragon Lee match. I think that's, for me, that was the biggest loser tonight, for the reason that the match had so much potential and they just cut it short. So for me, it sort of hurts any feud that they have, I think, in the long term, because it's sort of like you could have built on something there and you sort of just say, oh, let's cut it short. And it sort of it kills the anticipation and the hype for it a little bit, I think, in my opinion. For me, probably the biggest winner of the night would probably be, I'm going to say Randy Orton, just for the fact that, you think about it, he came back from a career-threatening injury, double fusion surgery. It's a pretty hard surgery to, I can't imagine, to go through and come back from. And 550 days later, he's back.
It looks great.
He looks like he worked out like crazy to get himself back into wrestling shape. So those are my winner and losers for the night.
All right. I think my biggest winner is CM Punk. From a moment that nobody thought that he would be wrestling again, especially for WWE. But I'm gonna keep this short. It has to be CM Punk. The amount of potential dream matches are there, and to be back in WWE, it is a big deal.
And now we got the younger superstars too, and
right.
a lot
So
of
it's a nice
ones,
blend. It's a nice blend, and he is stated to be at Monday Night Raw tomorrow night. So
he didn't have a full blown NXT roster brand like that when he didn't have a full NXT roster like that back in the day, where he could say it was on TV and he can go there and switch between shows to fight. So yeah, I agree with that one.
Yeah, and the biggest loser, it's All Elite Wrestling. They are the biggest loser. You lose your biggest draw to your rival.
Not that you lose. You threw out
No,
your biggest draw.
I'm gonna be nice, and I'm gonna you
Stop
lose
that.
your
No,
biggest
because you
draw.
weren't doing that shit yesterday. You were talking all that shit yesterday.
You
See you
lose
all.
you lose your biggest draw to your rival, in which now, like in terms of ratings and viewership, because remember when AEW started, all you heard was Tony Khan and Chris Jericho talk about, oh, AEW beat the demo, beat Raw on the demo, or we're not seeing that. We haven't seen one of those tweets in God knows how long. So now you get CM Punk, and it's like, listen, AEW has done better without Punk.
The match production has been a lot better.
And in terms of work environment, but as as CM Punk signs with WWE, that it's clear that AEW
It's just a cult of personality, man.
That's basically it, and I rest my case.
So as we wrap this up, Senor Soto, if you can please throw it up for the viewers. I think everybody needs to know where our link tree is. Right on the fucking money. Let's see what we got. If you want to check us out on our streaming, you can check us out on YouTube, on Twitter. They call it X. I'm gonna call it Twitter, right? We are live on Twitch as well. You want to hear us? We got Spotify, we got Apple, right? You want to talk to us? We're on IG, we're on Threads, we're on TikTok. You want to go ahead and listen. What are y'all doing, man? Join the Discord. Holler at the Discord. We want to talk to y'all, or even email us. Send us a fucking. Soto wants to talk to you guys. He wants to be a carrier pigeon in this, right? You want a little cool, fucking turn the window and just look at it. CM Punk forever. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Whatever the case may be. Just.
I mean, I want to interact with you guys, but I can't interact with you on TikTok because they have us in their jailhouse. So
yeah, the feds are on us, but it's okay. We'll be all right.
But don't worry, there's other platforms. There's other platforms.
Locked up, won't let us out.
Yeah, basically, I've been checking every day.
That being said, we appreciate you guys tuning in week in and week out and showing us love. If you want to create your own podcast, you could join. It's free and easy on an app known as Podcasters, formerly known as Anchor. They're now a collab with Spotify, and they went ahead and made everything free and easy. All you have to do is sign up via email, and you're good to go. Like Henry with Senpai says, with us with Sunset Flip Wrestling, you too can join the podcast scene. And not to mention, if you want to be able to promote and boost your marketing production, all you got to use is stream via StreamYard or Zoom. For a small nominal fee, you can go live and have the fans of Soto, per se. I don't have any fans. We got Soto's on.
I don't got a lot of fans, but I love each and every one of them.
So even then, use StreamYard. You could promote almost anywhere you want. Except for Westwood One. We'll be in California one day. As soon as me and Soto hit one of these parlays. Book it. With that being said, Henry about the door. We about to do the same thing and follow Henry. What's the move?
Probably some Call of Duty to end the night, and then you already know tomorrow Monday Night Raw. So I'm gonna be glued to that TV to see. Because listen, tomorrow it's gonna be kind of like the start of. We get a tease of what's gonna happen at the Royal Rumble, right? So I'm gonna be glued. I'm gonna see who's CM Punk. You're gonna have Monday Night Raw, CM Punk, and a mic. Scary times. We might get a pipe bomb, we might not, but it's gonna be epic.
Do we get the Mr. Kennedy? One of them segments.
You're gonna get a pipe bomb.
Yo, would love it. So, bye, kid. I'm up out of here. Till next time.
Peace.